back to see War Dogs. Alright guys, so exactly the day I came from California, I went straight to the movies from the airport. We went to go eat real fast, then we went to go catch War Dogs. And yeah, I went to go watch War Dogs. Here's my ticket stub. Not just that, but it was also worth the trip because they were giving out a bunch of decent tables. They had a Star Trek pin, which I never got when I went to go see it opening day. Then I know I already got this one opening day, but I got it for my cousin, the Ghostbusters pin. I got doubles, by the way, so the other doubles will be going to my cousins. And the Ice Age Collision Course ones, which they gave away like a week or two after the movie even came out. So that's about it, and let's get into the review. War Dogs is directed by the guy who directed the first three Hangover movies, Todd Phillips. Of course, the first one being one of my favorite comedies of all time. And the third and second one being good movies. I wanted to go check this out, so what we basically have in this movie, you know, it stars Miles Teller and Jonah Hill. They're basically arm dealers in this movie, and they sign a contract with the government to transport guns to soldiers in Iraq. And you know, while they're doing that, they also transport them in you know, illegal ways that the government has no idea that they're doing. And Miles Teller is basically the character, the straight character who's just in because he needs money because he's about to have a kid. And Jonah Hill, you know, he's an asshole, but he's a likable asshole in this movie. When I first saw a trailer for this movie, I was really excited for this movie. I thought it looked great. And then the reviews came in, and I heard mixed things, so I started lowering my expectations, hoping to get more enjoyment out of this movie, and my expectations went from a 9 to a 7. And you know, I still wanted to see this movie, so I want to go check it out on the discount day. And wow, it's not what I expected. Totally different from what the critics are saying about this movie. This movie is not as, you know, bad as it was described as, but sadly it's not as great as I thought it could have been. Now, don't get me wrong, I like these movies about like gun dealers, drug dealers, you know, movies that are basically based on true story. And same thing with Sicario last year. Well, this one I wanted to see and I kind of dragged my parents to see. And last year in Sicario, I didn't really want to see, but my parents dragged me to see it, and I loved it because I had, you know, I was concentrated throughout the movie. It had me thinking. It was just really good movie experience back with Sicario last year. And that's what they do in this movie. They keep your eyes glued. You make sure you pay attention to every dialogue in this film. And it's just great. That's how good this movie really is. You know, dialogue is fantastic. Script, same, fantastic. The acting is just outstanding with Jonah Hill and Miles Teller. I don't think that they'll get Oscar recognitions for this movie, but they could probably seek some type of MTV Awards thing, since they always seem to award these type of movies. My biggest issue with this movie is that it felt like it didn't feel completed. Now, I get that time is money. You basically for Hollywood, they have a certain amount of time that they want to make their movies so they could play more screens, but movies like War Dogs deserve to have a bigger runtime. This was just about exactly 2 hours. I think they could have made it an extra 10 to 15 minutes longer, because there's literally a scene in the movie where it literally goes from one scene to a few months later. By a few months, you might think like a month or two, or maybe even 3. But I believe that they skipped to 18 months, and that's more than a year. And it's just really, it doesn't really feel like they told you the whole entire story. And really, that's me wanting to, you know, I was so, like, during the movie, I was so interested into this story, and I wanted to know what happened during those 18 months, and it kind of, you know, bothered me throughout the movie what were they doing in those 18 months or those few months, and it just really bothered me throughout. And I will admit, this movie was pretty easy to follow in the beginning and the middle, because towards the end it kind of gets confusing to a point where you're like, I have no idea what just happened. They basically explained it all, but it just felt like you needed more details to actually picture what actually happened, because there's a character towards the end that in the middle of the movie he might seem like an asshole, but towards the end he's apparently a good guy. And it's just that scene where he's like, oh, I'm a good guy, all that, it's just really, like, I needed more detail to actually know what was happening. Now, there are some really cool scenes in this movie, including this, you know, a scene where they're crossing through a desert, and then they're getting chased by other people behind them. And that was really fun scene actually to watch, and I had fun during that scene. And I didn't mention that they also put a lot of, you know, classical music into this movie, and you know, by classical I mean like classical rock, all that stuff, and that's another thing that I think that the director did very well for this movie. Now, my theater has a thing called AMC Prime Dolby Cinema. It's basically, for those of you guys who don't know, yes, they have IMAX in that theater, but it's basically AMC's version of IMAX. It's their large screen premium format, or whatever it's called. They were playing Kubo and War Dogs, and after my version of, or my screening of War Dogs ended, I kind of, you know, just walked into the Dolby Cinema because War Dogs is playing. And again, if you guys don't know what Dolby Cinema is, it's basically the IMAX version for AMC, and they have a large screen, they have power recliners, they have subwoofers under recliners, and they have Dolby surround system. And I walked in that theater, and exactly when I walked in, it was that scene in the desert, and I got to see that whole entire scene in the Dolby Cinema. And let me just say, the theater was vibrating from the sound, you know, the surround sound, and the subwoofers under the seat, and the speakers on the top. It was pretty freaking awesome. I regret not watching this movie in AMC Prime. I guess the reason why I didn't watch this movie in AMC Prime, my parents were willing to pay the extra, an extra $5 to go watch it in AMC Prime Dolby Atmos, but I told them it looks like it's gonna be more of a drama movie than of a action movie. But after seeing that one scene, I kind of regret it. So I do have my new rating system for those of you guys who already don't know already. It's time to rate War Dogs, and with that being said, I'm going to give War Dogs my third highest rating in my new rating system, and that's a matinee/discount day worthy. Some of you guys are questioning my new rating system, that the matinee/discount day worthy, what I gave this movie, it's basically a 7 out of 10 through a 7.9 out of 10. And for those of you guys wondering, then what's your actual score out of 10? It would be a 7.8 out of 10, which rounds up to my matinee/discount day worthy system, and it's so close to a 8 out of 10, which is a full price worthy. But again, there were some things that they could have done better, and, you know, made it longer and all that, that kind of took its victory away from being my second highest rating. Other than that, support War Dogs. Go watch War Dogs. If you haven't seen Kubo, probably watch Kubo first, but then War Dogs, because War Dogs is a really good movie. Anyways, have you guys seen War Dogs? Have you guys seen it? What you think about it? Do you guys want to see it? Let me know. Anyways, I'll see you guys for my next movie day.